Hey, Shalom, Bakim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and also teaching this truth, and much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say Shalom. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas Camp, coming back today with another lesson, and I pray this lesson will be edifying to the elect. And I want to do a quick lesson going in on this this video. It actually is a video that randomly came across my feed, and I watched it this morning. And when I was looking at it, my spirit was like, man, does this dude got fringes on? And I was like, kind of looking, and I couldn't really tell because, part of the fringes was shown, but part of the fringes wasn't. So as you're going to see as I play the video, which is fair use, by the way, I'm not using this video for any kind of monetary gain. This is all for free reporting. But this is a prime example of what not to do. And this is a Jake, who knows he knows he's an Israelite, and he got pulled over, and he just acts like a complete nigga, man. And the scriptures tell you, as a matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is let me pull a precept real quick. The scripture says for us, Yahweh Shai said to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. All right, this is Matthew chapter 10, verse here it is. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 16, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking. He said, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves." You see that? So we're as sheep. We're like sheep, I rather say, in the midst of wolves. And when you look at sheep, all right, sheep are very docile creatures. They're not intimidating. And they're not aggressive. Sheep are very, very they need to be led. Sheep need to be led by a shepherd. So we're like sheep in the midst of wolves. And when you look at a wolf, if you put a wolf and a sheep one-on-one, we already know how that outcome's gonna be. That sheep is gonna get completely mauled. All right, so Yahweh Shai said, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." Okay, so we're to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves in this world and in this kingdom, because we're living in a kingdom that doesn't, first and foremost, we're not sovereign. Okay, so this kingdom that we're living in, and which is ruled by Esau, we're in the land of our enemy. It's not going to be fair. So you got to put yourself in a position to whereas you're not going to be, you're not going to look like you're causing harm, or that you're causing any kind of mayhem or acting reckless. When you look at this example that I'm about to play on the screen, this Jake, which, like, once again, this Jake knows he's an Israelite, is acting like a complete nigga, man. Okay, the scripture, Yahweh Shai said, he said, "Agree with thine adversary quickly." As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick, and then we'll let the video play a little bit and get a few more precepts. All right, this is Matthew 5 and 25. Matthew 5 and 25, it says, he said, "Agree with thine adversary quickly while thou art in the way with him." Let's get that word quickly. Let's get the word agree and get the word quickly as well. So he said, "Agree with thine adversary quickly." All right, that word agree is a eunoeo. All right, eunoeo. It says to wish one well. Okay, to wish one well. It says to be well disposed, of a peaceable spirit. Okay, of a peaceable spirit. You're not supposed to have no reckless spirit when you get pulled over by the cops. You ain't supposed to be acting like no goddamn nigga, man. And this video is more so aimed at, it could be some newer listeners, coming in listening. But beginning with our apostles here at Great Millstone on down, we're taught to make sure that our paperwork's in order. Making sure that our license is, making sure that our license are in order. We have car insurance. We're not out here driving recklessly and just driving like a bunch of niggas on the road, speeding and, all that madness. And then, we also taught whenever you get pulled over, if you get pulled over, how to speak to the cops. Okay. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, officer. No, officer. You ain't supposed to be on no, I know my rights. Is there a reason why you pulled me over? No, I ain't agreeing with that. Give me a white shirt. I want to speak to a sergeant. I know my rights. I know my laws. No, man. Okay? You don't have no rights here in Babylon, man. You think you do. Especially you being an Israelite here in America. Hell no. Absolute the fuck not. You don't. Okay? So it says to be well disposed of a peaceable spirit. That's the key thing, of a peaceable spirit. Okay? You ain't supposed to be no contrarian whenever you're getting pulled over by the cops. You over here getting pulled over, you know, by the cops, and a cop has a firearm on their side. They can completely take your head off, man. And the spirit of the Lord can be on the cop to take your head off if you're being out of order. Okay? Agree with thine adversary quickly. And that word quickly is a taku. Taku? Let's see.
Strong's G 5035. Tahu. Tahu.
Tahu. All right. Agree with thine adversary quickly. It says quickly, speedily, without delay. Okay, a cop pulls you over. You know, you get pulled over by the cops. You know, hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, how's it going, officer? Doing pretty good, not too bad. License and registration up. Here you go. You know, they ask for your license, your registration, you get it. It ain't supposed to be no, it's not supposed to be no tit for tat back and forth. Is there a reason as to why you pulled me over, officer? Well, technically there ain't no reason why I gotta give you my, just agree. It'll be well for you at the end. Okay, so it says, agree with thine adversary quickly while thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. See that? And you're going to see what's going to happen in this example, because this Jake, you know, was doing too damn much, man. You know, this Jake was being overzealous. And this is a prime example of what can happen to you when you're overzealous, man. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to play the video. All right, and Lord willing, we'll get some more precepts. And Lord willing, this is going to be an edifying lesson.
Being aggressive.
Is that I just rewinded this a little bit.
Into the vehicle because the window tint is so dark, and Frederick is refusing to lower them. So yes, it is completely reasonable to have Frederick step out.
Because you're being aggressive.
Is that a crime?
Yes.
Being aggressive is a crime.
It's enough to get you detained.
All right. I'm gonna talk to you like this. That's okay with you?
I'm Officer Boyd with the Richmond Police Department.
And you see his fringes down there. Like I said, when I was watching at first, I thought maybe it was like he has some design on the bottom of his shirt, but in my spirit, I'm like, it's, you know, like he look like he got some fringes on. But it's about to get more interesting. Just watch.
The only reason I asked you to throw it on your back window is because I couldn't see inside. That's why I asked you to step out. The reason I'm pulling you over is because your tag's expired. Do you have a license, insurance, and updated tag?
Yes.
Let me see it.
And this goes to show you how, you know, these jakes that talk about the fringes, you got to wear your fringes, Doc, the fringes. Where your fringes at, Doc? You know, first and foremost, you looked at as, you know, you're making yourself stick out like a target. You know, once again, you know, the scripture says, you got to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You know, but it also goes to show you whenever, you know, the Jake, they got their fringes out. Here it is. He should have looked at his fringes and should have understood to shut the hell up. This goes to show you that it's a lot bigger than just wearing your fringes out in public, man. You see, Jake look at the fringes as a fashion statement, man. The Lord didn't intend the fringes to be a fashion statement, man. Okay, when you read about the fringes in what's that, Numbers the 15th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, you know, somebody could put the precept up, but it's, you know, the fringes was set forth for you to remember to keep the laws, man. And it's a lot bigger than keeping the 613 laws, man. It's about obedience. But once again, you know, this Jake, he has his fringes on, they showing, you know, but watch how he acts.
Thank you. Where's your license and insurance?
801-458-121.
Negative. Where's your license and insurance?
801-458-121.
Negative. Where's your license?
I just got pulled over the other day.
This is today.
See that? That's why I agree with thine adversary quickly while thou be in the way with him. He's being a complete demon right now, man. Not the officer. This Jake, this Israelite, fringes all up on the screen and everything. This gonna be the thumbnail. He's being a complete demon. 801-58444. You know, like he asked license or registration. What are you doing? You see, but this is why Jake be getting blown. This is why Jake be getting blown out the way. You see, and these Jakes be getting shot in the street and things of that nature. Now they want to march. You know, now they want to march, and now this nigga on somebody's t-shirt. But here it is. He's being a complete asshole, man. A complete a complete reprobate, man. It's crazy, man. Let's get another precept real quick. It's gonna get even the video gonna get even better. Watch. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 4. It says, if the spirit of the ruler rise up against thee, leave not thy place. You see, if the spirit of the ruler rise up against thee, leave not thy place, for yielding pacifieth great offenses. Let's read this in the NLT. If your boss is angry at you, don't quit. You know, sometimes your boss, you know, your manager can be getting on your nerves and getting mad at you, and you like, man, fuck this job, I'm out of here. It says a quiet spirit can overcome even great mistakes. And so it's just best just to just lay low and just be quiet. When you get pulled over and you're detained, all right, when you're detained by the police, you're being detained by a magistrate, you're being detained by a ruler. Okay? And if the spirit, once again, if the spirit of the Lord is placed upon that ruler to take your ass out or to lock your ass up, it's ultimately judgment from the Lord too. Now, mind you, you can be locked up for a test. You know, you can be locked up for a test because maybe you don't do anything wrong and you still, you know, get pulled over and, you know, the cops could be profiling you. That happens too. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. Okay, that could be a test. That could be a test of faith. But this right here, as you about to see, was not this. What you about to see right here was just a complete, you know, lack of wisdom. Okay.
I tell you what. Esau.
You heard that? He said Esau. So he calling the officer Esau. And the officer's like, Esau. You see? Well, you know, this truth is getting out, but it go with these jakes, man. These jakes wearing their fringes out in public, thinking that they that they more righteous than thou. But look how they act. Let's run this back.
I tell you what. Esau.
What is that?
He's Genesis 25 and 25, red all over like a hairy garment.
So he starts preaching to the police. He read all over like a hairy garment. You Esau, you Esau. Like, come on, man. Like, come on now. The scripture says, walk towards wisdom toward them that are without. Does not the scripture also say if it be at all possible to live at peace with all men? We ain't supposed to be out here acting a fool, man. Romans 12 and 18, it says, if it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. You see that it says, if it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. So you ain't supposed to be out here acting like a damn nuisance, man. You ain't supposed to be out here acting like a goddamn, renegade. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. And that even goes with the heathen round about you. Now we know that we're Yahweh B'Shem Shah's chosen people. Obviously, he has chosen us to be a special people unto himself above all people. But it doesn't mean that you're supposed to be walking around, you going to the convenience store, and it could be an Elamite at the cash register. You over here just being a complete demon, Hello, sir. How are you? Hello, sir. How are you? I can't do the goddamn accent, but I'm trying. How are you doing, sir? You over here, man. Ring my fucking order up, you fucking heathen. Yeah, like, come on now. We ain't doing none of that. We ain't doing that. You walking into CVS or whatever case may be. Then you open the door and you see an Edomite behind you, slamming the door behind you, slamming it behind you. Yeah, you turn around, look at him. Yeah, you goddamn devil. Come on, man. Once again, let's read this again. It says, if it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. And once again, this is what our apostles teach us, man, through the Spirit. Because why? It's written in the scriptures. It's written in the scriptures to operate this way. You over here calling an officer Esau and bringing the scriptures out. Like, come on, man. What's that going? You think that's going to have the officer release you? You the officer gonna have, what? Oh, that's in the Bible. I didn't know I was Esau. Matter of fact, you know what? You're right, man. Go ahead and go, man. You're the true chosen people. I'm sorry. Come on now. You digging yourself a deeper hole at this point.
I tell you what. Esau.
What is that?
He's Genesis 25 and 25, red all over like a hairy garment. His job is to destroy the Israelites. I'm from the tribe of Judah.
Make yourself look like you just pulling yourself out like a target. His job is to destroy the Edomites, or his job is to destroy the Israelites. I'm of the tribe of Judah. Then he pulls his fringes out. Now, what example do you think you showing forth for the Israelites? And you wearing your fringes out and you over here acting like a complete demon. To the police, that is. And it does not the scripture say, now I don't know if this guy's a part of a camp. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I have no clue. But the scripture says, damn, it's at the tip of my tongue. Was that 1 Corinthians 6? How's it go? That the ministry be not blamed. It might be 2 Corinthians 6. Let me see. Bear with me. Let me just type in ministry blamed. Okay, 2 Corinthians 6 and 3. That's what it is. All right, this is 2 Corinthians 6 and 3. It says, giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. You see that? So we're not to live a life, and to act a particular way, especially out in public, whereas it can make the ministry be blamed. So this dude walking around with his fringes on, getting pulled over by the cops, acting like a complete reprobate, in front of the cops. Here it is, the cop got a firearm on his hip. And at any given moment, his life can be quote unquote threatened. Air quotes. Does not the scripture say, keep thee from the him that got the power to kill? Let me see that. It's in I know it's in the Apocrypha. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, verse 13. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill. See, a cop has power to kill you. Why does he have power to kill you? Ultimately, first and foremost, because the Lord has given him the authority. We're going to read it in Romans 13. It says, so shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. You see, so if you come towards the man that had the power to kill you, right? It says, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. If you make a fault in front of him, he could take you out. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares. You see that? And that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. You see, remember the scripture said that we walking in the peril, we walking in the peril of our overthrow here in Babylon, man. So you don't want to have a reason for these cops to look at you any kind of way, to the point whereas now you looked at like a prime target because you want to be a dumbass nigga in front of the police, man. You want to be stupid. Anyways.
Doing what God,
do you have license?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You're doing what God designed you to do.
Here it is. He's saying you doing what God designed you to do. And the scriptures literally clearly tell you what to do when you're confronted by the police, or when you're confronted by the authorities. The scriptures tell you what to do. And you're absolutely right. He is doing exactly what the Most High told him to do. Man's goings are of the Lord. So the spirit was on that cop to pull your dumb ass over, so that you can do this and be made an example out of what not to do when you get pulled over by the cops. So you absolutely right. Absolutely right, man.
You need to read Obadiah 1 and 18.
Can I get your license?
All over like a hairy garment. His job is to destroy the Israelites. I'm from the tribe of Judah. You're doing what God...
Do you have license?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You're doing what God designed you to do. You need to read Obadiah 1 and 18.
Can I get your license?
I'm giving it to you. How much time do I have to give it to you?
It's over here. You need to read Obadiah 1 and 18 because, like, you think the cop is worried about that? You think the cop that pulled your ass over worried about Obadiah 1 and 18? No, man. He keeps telling him, can I have your license or registration, please? Can I have your license or registration, please? Can I have your license or registration, please? He keeps saying the same thing, and Jake is just making it hard on himself. And with the particular infraction that he has, it's really just a cite and release. So he really could have just, if he would have obeyed either A, he would have got a ticket, and then he would have been on his way. He would have been on his way. That's why the scriptures talk about not being over righteous. Maybe he just found out he was an Israelite, 2 days ago. So, who knows? Let's get that real quick. I know it's Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 7:16. It says, be not over righteous much. See that? So you're not to be over righteous, man. Overly, just overdoing things. You see, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? You see that? Because Jacob's really putting himself in a position to destroy themselves, man.
What's my phone in my hand?
You see? Easily could have just gave him his license registration. Hey, you driving without your tag. Your tags is out, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'm sorry, officer. Which, you shouldn't be driving with your tags out anyway. But it happens. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not sitting there saying for you to do it. We definitely need to be on our P's and Q's. If your tags is out, make sure you have your tags updated. Make sure your license is up to date. Make sure your insurance is up to date. Make sure your license is up to date. All that good stuff, man. You don't want to give the authorities a reason to cause you any trouble. Because really you're putting trouble on yourself. Make sure you're not speeding. Make sure you're following the law. You following the traffic laws. Okay? You got to render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And render unto the Most High, render unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai what's Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's.
Do you know that Mississippi made the Mississippi Mobile ID app and every officer in the state has to accept this as a form of ID?
I do know that.
You do know that?
I do know that. Well, pull it up.
I'm pulling. Is that what I'm doing?
You're arguing about it.
How I'm arguing with my phone in my hand?
You're not pulling it up.
You're wasting your time.
Now, even though the law states you must have your driver's license on you while you're driving,
Wasting your time. I'm a law keeper. That's what this is. Numbers 15 and 38.
can I get
Oh man, see, it'd be the Jakes that talk about I keep them laws. Which obviously the laws are a beautiful thing, but you ain't keeping the laws in Babylon, man. Let's just keep it funky, man. You're not keeping the laws, man. I'm a law keeper. If you a law keeper, then if you a law keeper, then you definitely not keeping you're not keeping what was commanded by the Apostle Paul through the Spirit of and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You see, if you believe what the Apostle Paul wrote, it's pretty much it's through the Spirit of Yahushai. This is 1 Thessalonians 4:2. For ye know what commandments we gave you by the Lord Yahushai. You see what the Apostle Paul wrote, and he was commissioned to write, as we're going to get in Romans the 13th chapter, it was commissioned through the Spirit and power of Yahushai, man. I keep them laws. No, you don't. You ain't keeping the law. But see, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Jake and you wearing the t-shirt fringes. Which if you want to wear fringes on your t-shirt, do you? You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do. And that and you feel in your faith that's what you need to do, then do it. I'm not sitting there saying, you going off for wearing fringes on your t-shirt, but where is the scripture talk about wearing a t-shirt? It says that having a garment down to the foot. Not no t-shirt. But once again, if that's what you do, that's what you do.
About 25 minutes.
Which now y'all finna bully me. Y'all finna pump me out. I ain't no threat to you. Just because I know what I'm talking about. Hang up, I'll call you back. Show this brother I keep his laws and God laws. Hang up.
Oh, Lord.
I'll hit you back. So I can activate my Face ID. I love your laws. You love them?
I do.
Yeah, you told me you break them and sleep good at night the last time on camera. Yeah, you said that.
Beauty and more on Pear Orchard.
You said that.
Never said that.
Right there. It's what I told you.
27.
It's what I told you.
801-458-121. 801-458-121. You got your insurance?
Let me call my wife real quick. Matter of fact, last time y'all pulled me over the other day, it's in my text messages. How about it? With this good practice.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see.
But then you different.
So you don't have proof of insurance.
Look, I'm not answering your questions. If I present it, then if I present it, then don't write the ticket. If I don't present it, write the ticket. I go to court. Here it is, right here. He was just being a jerk. Do you think I got insurance?
I don't know.
Do you think I got insurance?
I don't know.
I'm a 6-figure guy. Do you think I pay for insurance?
I have no idea.
Man, my policy almost $500 a month.
Damn, that's high.
And then, let's see. Come to find out, this Jake, he had a, yeah, let's go here. Because I guess he had like a firearm in his car too, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see real quick. Hold up.
Difficult to deal with, but this never looks good on camera.
Yeah, it's legal. That's what I'm telling you. Shut your fucking mouth.
We all get frustrated with people we deal with on the street, and I have also cursed at suspects in the past, but we gotta try and keep it professional at all times. People like Frederick are always gonna poke the bear because they want that big reaction out of the cops, and Frederick is a walking hypocrite. He tells the cops that they need to de-escalate the situation and be professional, but Frederick himself is escalating the whole thing.
I'm doing all of this. You see what I'm saying?
Lock his ass.
He's all gonna be frustrated.
He wants to be a so lock his ass.
He's gonna be frustrated every
It's like, look, lock his ass up. That's what's gonna happen.
Sounds good to me.
I need to put my tag on there.
Turn around, bud.
Turn around. You want a hook?
Yep.
Step over to your car so I can empty your pockets. To your car.
Now, ultimately, the officers decided to arrest Frederick, and I have yet to receive any of the police reports that are requested from the police department, so I don't actually know what the initial charge was. But in Mississippi, vehicle registration violations, such as expired tags or failing to register a vehicle, they fall under the state's traffic code, which classifies them as misdemeanors. Typically, these are treated as cite and release, but they can be
See that? It's treated as cite and release.
turned into arrest under special circumstances, like if there are multiple traffic offenses stacked up. And in this case, Frederick also has failed to provide insurance and is being uncooperative. So I would be inclined to believe that this was the original arrest charge. And doing a quick Google search, I only found one website that said what Frederick was charged with, and that was possession of a controlled substance, possession of
Here it is, possession of a controlled substance. Here it is. I keep God's laws. You over here, but you over here got weed in your car, and you know what I'm saying? It's like smoking. It's still smoking. Like, no, man, come on now. Possession of a firearm or possession of a controlled substance. And that's the thing. If you got a firearm, you got to understand and know the laws in your state. If you got a firearm, like out here in Texas, you don't got to have a license to carry. But you still have to carry it a particular way if you do. But in Texas, you don't need a license, but it's still best to have a license. It's still best to still have a license still regardless, even if you don't need one. But he over here driving around with weed in the car, got a firearm in the car. I keep God's laws. Okay. All right, well.
a firearm while in possession of a controlled substance, expired tags, and no proof of insurance. Now, whether these
just riding around being a nigga. You see? Now let's get this real quick. Romans 13:1. Let's actually read this in the NLT. All right, it says, everyone must submit to governing authorities. Police authorities are governing authorities. For all authority comes from the Most High, and those in positions of authority have been placed there by the Most High. You see that? So when you see a cop or you see a police officer, they've been set up by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? So anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against what the Most High has instituted, and they will be punished. You see that? He was rebelling against the authority. He was rebelling against the police. All right, so what happened? Eventually, he got his ass locked up. It says, for the authorities do not strike fear in people who are doing right, but in those who are doing wrong. You see that? And he knew he was doing wrong. He knew he was driving without no insurance, expired tags. I'm a 6-figure individual. You don't think I make 6 figures a year. You over here glowing about how much money you make in a year, but you don't even got your shit in order, man. It says, would you like to live without fear of the authorities? do what is right and they will honor you. You see, you do what's right. Because there be times where you can get pulled over by the police and you act civil. You act the way you're supposed to act. How you doing, officer? Ask you a question, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. You keep your hands on your steering wheel. You know what I'm saying? If you do happen to have a firearm in your car, you make sure that the firearm is unloaded with the clip out, as well as with the clip open, the chamber open, safety up, and you have it sitting on your dash. Or if you get pulled over, you let them know, hey, officer, just let you know I do have a firearm in my vehicle. You tell them where it's at, and boom, there you just keep it pushing, and make sure it's all clean, make sure it's all legal. It's in your name, whatever, It says so you must submit to them, not only to avoid punishment, but also to keep a clear conscience. You see that? To keep a clear conscience, man. It says pay your taxes. It says pay your taxes too, for these same reasons. You see that? So you're not supposed to just live a life without paying your. If you ride on a toll road down here in Texas, you got a toll road. If you ain't got a toll tag, you get a bill in the mail, and you know how much you owe. And if you just don't pay, that shit will just pile up. You pay your taxes. For the government workers need to be paid. They are serving the Most High in what they do. Give to everyone what you owe them. Pay your taxes and government fees to those who collect them, and give respect and honor to those who are in authority. Once again, you get pulled over by the police. What do? Okay, you respect the authority, man. Not act like no damn nigga. There's another one in Peter, and I'm gonna end it off on this one. I think it's 1 Peter 5, maybe. Let's see. 1 Peter 5. Let's see. Let me go back to Romans 13 and do a cross reference, because it'll probably pull up. 1 Peter 2. Yep, here it is. 1 Peter 2 and 13, it says, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well. For so is the will of the Most High, that with well-doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men, as free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as of the servants of the Most High. See that? So you're supposed to submit yourself to the ordinances, man. Now, once the ordinances get to the point where as it has you breaking Yahweh Shem Shai's laws, then no, you serve the Lord. But in this case here, he had it coming to him. This Jake had it coming to him the whole way. So the Lord put the spirit on the cops to lock that's why the cop lock his ass up. And that's exactly what happened. So I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua B'Shem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us the truth, and that's what teaching is truth, and much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, I say shalom.